Hey guys, podcast time. If those of you that are interested in podcasting as a career or a future, this is an excellent example of how to maybe not structure your podcast.
What do you mean?
I don't know. Today in the podcast, we have a very, I think probably the most Canadian moment of 2017.
We do, and I'll give you this little tidbit. If you like or enjoy hockey, and you think the goalies are amazing and you'd love to be one, you really need to keep listening to the podcast.
Yes, indeed. So we got that. Facebook tracking your face, meat sweats, movies anywhere. The most heroic woman of World War II that I've read about in the last 24 hours. Toys. Documentaries, health terms, free comic book day. There's a lot going on.
It's good. And now don't forget, depending on when you're listening to this tonight,
so December
Wednesday,
20th.
December 20th, we are hosting our Ugly Christmas Sweater Party. That'll be on Facebook at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. So we're going to do a second show today.
Yes, we are.
You can watch that if you follow our Facebook pages. There's two of them, Radio U, obviously, and then Radio U Riot is our show page. Go ahead and like both of them, and then you can talk with us tonight.
Okay. So you guys enjoy the podcast. And then, of course, if you have not yet
done what we just mentioned.
Well, I was going to say, like, if you are getting to this podcast late, there'll be an archive of the show.
There will be. That'll be on our Facebook page, or you should also follow us at Radio U Riot on our YouTube channel. Hopefully, that'll be there, too.
So,
have a wonderful day.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
It's the Riot.
Sometimes a bad example is the best example. It's the worst of the Riot on Radio U.
I would like to introduce to you what I believe is one of the most uniquely Canadian problems ever. You're like, oh, is the maple syrup out, eh? No. Maybe even more than that. They have a real goalie shortage in Canada.
For hockey?
Yes.
I love that so much.
They can't seem to find enough goalies to play hockey. And so you've got all these league teams. And listen, it's like, I don't know what, soccer there? Like from the time kids are 2, they're playing hockey. And they're playing all the way into like their 80s. Like everybody's always playing hockey.
Well, I wonder then, are they not having a shortage in other positions? Is it really no one just wants to be is it too high?
No one wants to be goalie.
Is it too much pressure?
Well, here's where it gets even crazier. I want to introduce you to the solution, Nikki. The solution is that all of you that are out there playing hockey and you can't get a goalie, I'd like to introduce you to the Goalie Up app. You, as a goalie, can register with Goalie Up, and then teams can hire you to come and play goalie for them.
Like a fill-in?
Exactly.
A replacement?
Yes.
Wow.
So, well, not even a replacement. They don't have a goalie at all.
You're right. They don't have anybody there in the first place.
So how about this? It costs about $40 a game to hire a goalie.
That's it?
That's crazy.
That's all you're getting paid?
Oh, you're thinking about this the wrong way, Nikki. You love to play hockey and you're a goalie.
True, but that's a lot of physical contact, possible injury.
3 nights a week.
For $40.
You're making about $120 a week.
I don't think that's enough.
$460 a month.
It depends
on $480, I guess.
It depends on what you're paying the other players.
No, Nikki. They're not making anything.
Those are volunteer.
Okay.
Wait,
you're not
talking about the hockey league?
You're not getting it. Well, I'm not talking about the hockey league.
I'm talking about the hockey league.
I'm not talking about like Canadian hockey league kind of stuff.
Like pickup games or something.
They're leagues, but like club teams or whatever.
I got you. I thought you meant like professional league. I was like, wait, don't you have to pay someone the same amount you're paying the other players?
I'm saying, think about a sand volleyball league down at the whatever.
Yes, it makes sense now. Where you're volunteering your time to play, but they at least need to have a goalie. You
got a team of 5 people, but you need that 6th person, and you want the 6th person so badly, you'll pay them $40 every time they show up.
Okay, now this totally makes sense.
So everybody on your team has to chip in like $5 every game to hire a goalie.
When no one else is getting anything.
Unbelievable.
I'm surprised it wouldn't rotate, and then everybody would be miserable.
Well, you know what, though, Nikki, think about it. Like, being a goalie requires a very particular set of skills.
That's a tough one.
And if you're someone that can exercise those, they say that. Now, this is a quote from the guy who created the app. So I would take this with a grain of maple syrup. I love to play. and I've never met a bad bunch of hockey players. When the goalie shows up in the dressing room, they're thrilled. You're the star of the team and very much appreciated.
And you're getting $40.
And about $40. You can charge more. And I assume, now, of course, I haven't dug too deeply into this, there must be some sort of a feedback kind of loop.
Oh, kind of like with Uber or something if you're the driver.
Mm-hmm. Also, if it's late night or last minute, there's at least an extra $10 fee on top of that. They're like, I play late night hockey. It pays
You're
more.
getting more money. And on peak time, so like weekends.
Right. I mean, you wanted me to come all the way down here and be your goalie for you. Come on.
Funny.
It's amazing. And it's so Canadian. Or maybe it's not. Maybe in the United States right now, there are a lot of hockey players like, I would so pay to hire a goalie right now.
How did he know that's what we need?
It's exactly what we're looking for.
One of the only things left that isn't owned by Disney. The Riot on Radio U.
Hey, I don't know if there's any way for any part of this to not be creepy, so pay attention. Facebook has just announced that if somebody uploads a picture of you, they're going to notify you that they've just uploaded your picture. Now, on the one hand...
Even if they don't tag you?
On the one hand, that's great, because that means that, you're going to be able to, all those people that are, constantly snapping pictures of you in public without you knowing about it, you're going to know about it.
You'll find out.
So that's great.
But the worst part is, those are never flattering pictures.
Well,
you had no control over those.
At this point, you might. They will receive alerts if they opt in for this, and if they are in the friend network of a person who posted the photos. But it might enable you to issue a takedown request.
Yeah, or remove yourself
like
from if they do end up tagging you.
Mm-hmm. So the idea is they want to help you protect your digital privacy.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
No, I don't either.
Unless you get a lot of notifications.
But the creepy part of it is this is like another reminder that Facebook knows exactly what you look like.
Yeah.
Not just one person at Facebook, like Facebook the entity. Facebook, it's slowly growing into an AI that is learning your faces and where you live and the things you like and how to ruin everything. That kind of stuff.
Well, it's been learning because I also assume some of this perhaps tags on to they've been working on what falls under the revenge porn category.
Oh, yeah, that's a thing, too.
And we didn't realize this, but if you, like they talked about, if you believe something's been posted or could possibly be posted, they wanted you to send in the items or the pictures to them. So then that way that would be uploaded to be not like in a way we do it, but uploaded so that if it ever got posted somewhere, Facebook would be able to recognize and be able to take it down and filter it away. So similar to where it's been learning, all this stuff about people's recognition, that it crosses over to just into your normal privacy.
Man, 10 years from now, the machines run everything.
It'll just have it all. But as long as it knows to pick a good picture, if someone's posting something from if you meet them or something.
You do kind of wonder where it goes because let's be honest, a lot of what we're doing right now is the stuff, think 1984. We've got cameras in our houses. We've got microphones in our houses. We've got TVs that watch us and know if it's us. That's kind of where we're at. And you're like, it's not like that. It is. But in Orwell's mind, it was going to be this dark, oppressive future. And instead, we're like, I want more cameras.
More. Can we make him look better?
How can I have less privacy? I want everyone to know. So this is what it looks like. So, our terror, our bad ideas, man, the Terminator's going to come. They're going to shoot us all. Terminator going to kill us all. And instead, we'll be like, this is great. I've got machines everywhere that do everything.
Well, we fall into the trap of it's convenience.
Right.
And it's nice. So I guess we sold our privacy a long time ago.
I know, but what I'm saying is maybe the robot takeover future won't be so bad.
I'm thinking they always show you being hit with your earbuds.
Yeah.
But it's well,
I think,
we have earbuds.
Put me in the fat floaty chair. From
Wally.
Wally, just put me in the fat floaty chair.
If that's how it is, we're fine with that.
I mean, Wally seemed nice enough.
You finally get a break.
The Worst of the Riot box set is now available nowhere because we know you wouldn't want it anyway. It's the Worst of the Riot on Radio U.
So, you know what? Last night I experienced some Movies Anywhere magic speaking of like the dark world in which the AI takeover is no doubt coming. So Movies Anywhere is that thing that used to be Disney Movies Anywhere, but they've tied in now. You can tie in your iTunes, your Vudu, your Google Play, and your Amazon account all together. And so anything that you buy digitally from any of those 4 locations shows up
on
in
any device.
All of the other 4 locations.
Which is a shame because at first I was like, wait, that's not all my movies. And I remember, well, they're not all them.
Right.
But it shows you it's a good majority.
Well, the thing for me is that I had a ton of movies that like years ago I claimed as digital copies on iTunes and basically kind of forgot about because I moved kind of out of the Apple environment and all of a sudden they just showed up in my Vudu account, which was like, whoa, that's awesome. Love it. So yesterday I had a...
You're fine.
I feel great. I had I was with some friends who were going to watch Home Alone, and I couldn't find a copy of Home Alone. I don't know.
Is that theirs?
Well, what I ended up doing was I never buy movies from Amazon ever because I don't want to. I don't know why. I just don't. So,
which is weird because there's nothing wrong with it. But.
Well, my thing was that at one point I decided after the Apple thing, I was like, look, I need to pick a retailer where I can buy just one retailer where I can buy things from. And so I ended up picking Vudu. It was tied in with Walmart and it all worked with Ultraviolet. So I was like, that's just going to be my choice. I'm going to put all my eggs in that basket. I'm going to go with that. So for Amazon, I might rent a movie, but it's like, I will not buy a movie from them. Well, I had a $7 credit plus whatever. So I bought, Home Alone yesterday for $8, but as soon as, literally within 10 or 15 seconds of me buying it on my laptop through Amazon, I had my Vudu app open and it was like,
right there. Yeah.
It was right there. That's cool. And that's how you end up in the fat floaty chair.
That's movie magic right there.
That's how we end up in the fat floaty chair, man. That's how Wally happens is I'm just like, I'm not concerned about whatever. I just clicked this button and it was there. So it was awesome.
It's hard because then, on a whim, you're like, yeah, I want to watch something. And you're like, there it is.
Well, it was nice because I know that I have somewhere one time bought Home Alone, but I really honestly don't know where it was.
Digitally, you don't know where it's at? Because sometimes you can lose them.
No. I mean, like physically.
Physically?
I don't know. And so I was like, you know what? I got this credit like for 99 cents. It's just going to happen. Fine. Let's just do that. I'm just whatever. So, and I watched Home Alone yesterday, which is so great.
Well, I haven't seen that in forever.
I watch it every year.
Yeah.
I watch Home Alone and Home Alone 2. Those are givens. Of course, Elf. And I've watched the Charlie Brown Christmas. The only thing I'm sitting on that I haven't seen yet this year is Toy Story: The Time Forgot.
Oh, that's a good one.
I love that. I love that. I'm a huge fan of that. And what's the Toy Story of Terror? Love that one too.
The Halloween one.
They are both great. So I'm just got to get that together, and I should be good.
The Riot.
They hate me. They hate you. They hate us.
Why else would they make us listen to the worst of the Riot? Radio U.
You know what we should consider, Nikki, is getting in on this until we get the meat sweats.
What do you mean, just eating?
Well, the meat sweats is, some people get that. They eat a lot of protein and all of a sudden they get red and start sweating.
Every so often we might see that at like the wing buffet.
What's funny
or if you go to a big steakhouse.
Hey, speaking of the wing buffet, I just want to let you know, today is our last opportunity to have everybody together.
If we're going to
have lunch together.
I'm not sure. Are we going to, or are we going to wait until the new year? Because we had thoughts of like, that's what we're going to do right when we come back.
As soon as we get back. Like when everybody, on the day that everyone else is going to the gym, we should go to the wing buffet.
We thought how ironic.
It's a statement piece for the year.
It's like our art installation. We're going to wings.
It's throwing the lightsaber over our shoulder. Yes. It's a statement piece.
I like making that statement. I feel like that has more impact.
Yep.
But I wouldn't mind wings today, so I don't know what to do.
I'm conflicted.
About what?
Yeah, I am conflicted. So the reason I'm talking about the meat sweats is because Arby's is giving out the meat sweats. And they don't mean like they're talking.
Is that their new sandwich name?
No, you need to see it. It's I'm sending it to you now.
Because they had Meat Mountain. Is that it?
They did have Meat Mountain. No, these are the meat sweats, and they're literally giving away sweatpants and sweatshirts.
Oh, Oh, that's clever.
Covered in meat.
Oh, nice.
But it's not available for sale. Apparently, like, they're just from time to time, like, giving them away.
Maybe they're just testing it first.
The chain announced it will be offering a new sandwich called the Arbinator. Okay, we got that.
There's an expandable waistline technology for post-meal comfort.
Well, you need that. So what I don't know is how they're giving them away yet, but they are giving away the meat sweats. There's something really gross about those. They're fleece lined.
Well, they look wonderful if it just did not have the print on it. So there's nothing you can do about that. Like, if it did not have the meat stuff on it, they'd look really comfortable.
Yeah. Arby's sounds pretty good, but that wing buffet lingers.
That sounds good, too.
I've also been thinking about some Chinese food. We tried to get Chinese food earlier this week, and we went to 3 different places, and the line was out the door because apparently there's a huge shortage of General Tso's chicken in the world.
We go to lunch earlier than that day, and that day was way too late. If everybody else has to deal with lunch like that, then...
It's no wonder we're all angry.
I don't want to keep eating lunch. Not like that.
Yeah, just count me out.
Too much emotion with it.
It's going to start bagging a peanut butter sandwich.
If you've always wanted an Arby's sweatpants set, then maybe keep track of them during the holidays because you might just win one.
I still don't know how it is that they're giving them away, but they're not available for sale. So my guess is you just want to, the next time you're at Arby's, say, I want to talk to the manager. What's it going to take to put me
into those things?
Into some meat sweats.
They're probably, if it really, truly, okay, this is how it's going to go. They're going to know nothing about it.
Yep. They'll be like,
you need
what?
to do something online with social media, come up with a clever tweet or something, get them to be like, this is our number one fan. You get them. And that's probably the only way.
Nikki's kind of right.
You don't have to apologize unless you've done something wrong.
Well, I'm sorry. I can't even think straight right now.
This is the worst of the riot. We're very, very sorry.
I'll have to say I have yet to find a phone game that I really can enjoy. Like, the closest I've ever gotten was Marvel Puzzle Quest, but even that, after a very short period of time, I was just like, you know what?
Well, you get bored, and there's other stuff on your phone, and it's hard.
I get bored. It's funny, phone games are supposed to be for those of us that have a very short attention span, but I'm too bored too fast with even those short attention span games. I don't know what that means, but I do.
Well, I think it means, too, a lot of them are still wrapped around daily trying to get you to come in. Mm-hmm. And I feel pressure. And I can only keep up with those daily check-ins for like a week or two. And then you're like, well, you missed the first day, and then you never check back in.
Pretty soon you're not back.
Yeah.
Like Tiny Death Star, I played that for almost 4 whole days.
Wait, what was the Nintendo one?
Super Mario Run? That was last Christmas.
Pocket Camp. Like, I really...
Animal Crossing?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. And I was like, 2 days in, and then third day, I'm like, well, I can't play it again.
Can't stay committed. We're the opposite of a whale. We've got nothing involved.
And you're like, why is it hard? Like, I don't know. It is. It just is.
Just happens. Well, I'm looking at this because Arena of Valor just launched in the United States yesterday, and that's on Android and iOS. And they say it is the largest mobile game in China, keeping in mind that China is the largest country in the world as far as population goes.
With the game.
They have 200 million registered players and 80 million that are active daily players.
That's a huge number for active players.
It is a huge number.
One thing to get your game downloaded, and maybe someone does play every so often, but to have the active number is what you're really looking at.
So it's owned by Tencent, which that's a name that you actually should tuck away somewhere. Tencent, Tencent. They are a Chinese company they're a huge company. Like, they own so many different things. You don't hear a lot about them in the United States, but they're big, and they are actively trying to break into entertainment mediums here in the United States. So, like, you're going to hear that name more and more in the coming years. Well, they own this game, and again, it launched yesterday.
In the United States.
Mm-hmm.
Curious about its numbers, then.
I don't know.
Give it some time, but just curious if people pick it up.
What? Superman's in it?
Maybe someone does need to try it.
Yeah, look at their Superman. What's up? I wonder how much I have to pay to be able to use Superman. But it looks like
he's a premium character.
I'm sure he is. It's a MOBA, but it's a MOBA for your phone. Mm-hmm. And a MOBA is a multiplayer online battle arena. Think League of Legends or Dota 2. If that was all a foreign language to you.
If that went right over your head. You don't want
know
this
how to
game.
I don't know how to fix that for you, but like that's
Not every game's for every person.
it's kind of a big deal that it's coming here. But again, this also, I feel like this is the kind of game that goes in the other direction. Like some games, it's like I have to check in every day. It's too much work. This feels like the kind of game where it's like not only do you have to check in, but your team members need you to be playing several hours a night.
Well, maybe that team membership stuff helps motivate you.
You think I need some
Yeah, then it becomes
peer pressure?
more than just you in a game, but if you've got a team counting on you, you
Yeah.
won't let them down.
That's the last thing I need is my phone counting on me. It's already constantly talking to me. I don't need it being like, and now more people in your life you're disappointing.
You've let your whole team down on this game.
Way to go, guy.
They just want you to check in.
All they want you to do is spend an hour doing a run with them. Why can't you do that?
If you were offended or disgusted by anything Obadiah said this morning,
If you weren't so dumb, I might be offended.
you must be new. You'll get used to it. The Riot on Radio U.
You know, I enjoy a good movie just as much as anybody else. A superhero tale. Well, let's talk about a real hero tale. And this is not supposed to be like a lesson on why superheroes are stupid and real people are the real heroes of our world. But listen to what this lady did. Her name is Michaeline Dumont. She just died at the age of 96. She was a significant figure in the Comet line during World War II. She helped over 250 British and American airmen who had crashed get back to Britain.
Oh, to safety?
The Comet line itself did this for at least 750 airmen, but she was personally responsible for at least 250. So listen to some of the stuff she would do. They would talk about how people vastly underestimated her because of her appearance. She was 5 feet tall. They said that she was, and this is, I guess, not nice, but the British described her face as round and artless.
Aw.
And she looked no more than 15. She used these to the greatest advantage. So in other words, she was again, it doesn't sound nice, but a kind of plain looking,
But no one would
short
expect
girl
her to
who
do
looked
anything.
Very, very young. And she had teeth like you would not believe. This is crazy. Listen to some of the stuff that she did. She would take British airmen. She would teach them European manners. So all of the things that, or like Americans would do. Americans had a habit, she said, of putting their hands in their pockets and rattling their chain. They're like, no, that would never happen for a European.
So in order to not get caught, while you're trying to get to safety.
She taught them how to wear their berets, what kind of table manners they should use, taught them French and Belgian language enough to get them across the border, took them to photographers to have their identities made so that they could work under false papers, was well known as being able to distract German agents, including passionately kissing airmen if they began to be, if the Germans would start looking at them.
Yeah.
This lady.
Wow.
Insane.
I've never heard of her.
I've never heard of her either. She also took training as a nurse, helping a lot of these guys recover from their wounds, including retrieving a 2-inch piece of shrapnel without anesthesia from a B-17 pilot, who, by the way, made it all the way home to Portsmouth, Virginia.
Now, like you were saying, even though we were joking at that point, no, this really is a hero. Very much so.
I am
probably never got the credit deserved.
Yeah, I am in awe of her story. She spent 2 days she got caught. She spent 2 days in Nazi custody, but they assumed that she was too young because she looked so young
to be the person.
to not be a threat. And so they let her go. Wow, right? I'll tell you what, a lot of people will underestimate you based on how you look. Let me tell you something. Teeth. This woman had teeth. Crazy. She lived to be 96, Nikki. She was teaching this is amazing. She was teaching them how to smoke their cigarettes in the European fashion. Right? This lady, it's crazy. I'm blown away by it. She lived to be 96. And in the meantime, we're like, I need another speaker for my surround sound system. We'll be dead at 40. She's like,
It's a different time, is what you're saying.
Oh, my gosh.
It's a very different time.
They were. I don't know. People had some kind of backbone then that it just seems like we lack these days. That is insane. So, you know what? Michaeline was worth talking about. And we give you a full riot salute, Michaeline. Tough as nails. 96. Get out of here.
The worst of the riot has no expiration date. It's born spoiled. It's the Riot on Radio U.
Can you think of one thing, and I'm really mostly like 90% not kidding when I say this, one thing that, Nikki, to you tastes like freedom? Like when you taste it, you're just like, I'm free. I'm doing what I want.
Oh gosh, like food wise or just like the salty air?
I'm actually going to say food.
Food wise?
Yeah.
Okay. Like freedom. Not quite a milkshake or a slushie, but somewhere along those lines, maybe.
Okay. What about a vanilla Sprite Zero?
Yeah, well, that just tastes like bondage right there.
That'll do.
I'm stuck on that. Like, I can't get freedom from that.
It's the opposite.
And I know deep down, that it's not right. So it's not freedom.
Okay, all right. There is a country in this world where they know exactly what freedom tastes like, and that would be North Korea. Because in North Korea, apparently one of the single greatest things that you can get your hands on is a choco pie.
Yeah, I've had one before.
Okay, well, again, to us...
And you've had one too.
Yeah, like who cares? Choco pie, no big deal. In North Korea, not only is food scarce, but that kind of food, shockingly scarce.
Almost unheard of.
And so what was happening there for a while was that there was an underground railroad of choco pies. They had North Koreans that were licensed to work in this one place in the demilitarized zone for South Korea.
At a factory.
They would give them choco pies, and they turned into this underground currency because people wanted them so badly, et cetera, et cetera. It's a sad tale. It's about to get a little sadder and happier because we've got a 24-year-old defector. His name is O. At least that's what they're calling him. And he was shot 5 times as he was trying to escape North Korea.
Was that the one all the video footage of? Or was that a different guy?
I don't know if it was or not.
The one who had the parasites in his stomach and stuff? Might be a different one.
I don't know. He may. I'll say this much. I don't know about that, but I know this guy shot 5 times. He made it. He's had to have surgery twice. Mm-hmm. When he came out of surgery, he had one request.
He wanted a choco pie?
He wanted a choco pie. And the company that makes them, Orion, there in South Korea, has said this guy gets... First off, they sent 100 boxes of choco pies to the hospital for that guy.
Oh, wow.
Then they said, just to let you know, you can have all the choco pies you want for the rest of your life.
That's a nice gesture.
Mm-hmm. That's something. It's sad but fascinating. To this guy, literally, the symbol of his freedom is this choco pie. And they did it. They got it into him. And so he's out of North Korea now. He's living in South Korea. He's still recovering in the hospital.
They're good, but when we had them, you realize the sugar distribution or the difference between a snack there and a snack here. You feel like it's missing something because it's not sweet enough or it's not enough.
Yeah.
Compared to our stuff, which is usually overloaded.
What are you talking about? I can't even taste the sweet anymore.
And that's when you should get worried. It's it's pretty bland.
So, let's be honest. The United States has a lot of problems. It's got a lot of whatever. But you know what? Something you take for granted, sugar. Think about that. You could go buy a candy bar if you wanted to. It's not that bad here.
Worst of the riot, not enough? Not enough? Check the blog and all things Riot at riot.radiou.com.
Here on the show, I talk about it some, but I'm going to bring it up today. Really in a little bit of a fist fight with depression this week. I don't know why this week got to be a special week or what.
Well, I feel too, it's getting to be really the stressful time.
It can be.
So for a lot of people, that can be a big trigger.
And so, you know what? The reason I want to talk about it is that, for me, it's depression. For you, it may be something else. But a lot of times we find ourselves in these situations where, whether we're stressed out or depressed or whatever kind of the thing is, it kind of can turn into a cycle that eats itself. So maybe we do something, we snap, we say something we wish we hadn't said, whatever, and then we think, oh, I'm a really terrible person, I wish I hadn't said that, I'm so this, and it's kind of this downward spiral, there's just this thing, if you've experienced it, where it just starts to eat itself, and it gets worse and worse and worse. And I'm bringing it up because in the middle of me dealing with things, the thing that I find that is really amazing is that God is a cycle breaker. Jesus literally wants to come in and break some cycles in your life. So whether it's an addiction cycle where it's like, do something I really wish I hadn't done, start to feel really bad about it. When I feel really bad, this is the thing that I turn to make me feel better for a minute. Oh, crap, I did it again. I feel really bad. So I turn to the thing. I did it again. Cycles, things in our life, repeating patterns. I want you to know that God wants to break that, and here's why. One of the things that always feeds itself about our behavior is that when we start to feel bad about ourselves, when we start to get down on ourselves, start to beat ourselves up, I want you to know that that's not what God wants to do. God is actually on the other side of that. What God wants to do is God wants to love you. God wants to remind you about how loved you are and how valuable you are to him. And when you start to chew on that, that starts to change things. That breaks things up because all of a sudden it's like, I'm such a terrible person. And God's like, no, you're not. I love you. Whoa, wait a minute. Now we're talking about putting something new and different in the cycle, and a different cycle starts. God loves me a whole lot. I'm feeling really terrible. I'm going to go talk to God about how terrible I feel. He reminds me about how much he loves me. Oh, I don't have to do that thing. And that cycle begins to look different. This is something that God helps me do. Now, I would love to tell you that I get it right every time, but I don't. But that's okay, too, because God loves me. He forgives me, helps me to do things better, and gets me through it. I mean, I wish it was a snap of the fingers and it was done, but it's not. It's just something that I have to deal with, and there are things in your life that you've got to deal with. So you want to deal with it the right way? You want to get some help, or you want to be stuck? Do it right now. Say, Jesus, I don't want to get stuck. I'm tired of being stuck. Come into my life. Help me. Fill me with your spirit. I need help. I need you to break this cycle in my life. Could you please just help me with that? And I want you to know, whether you're dealing with something like that or maybe it's something else, you can talk to God about that too. Like with a relationship with God, you can talk to him about your bills, your car trouble, or the people you have to see this weekend. I don't know. Whatever it is, you guys can talk.
You're hearing it for the first time, and it sounds terrible.
It's the worst of the riot on Radio U.
Netflix would like to say,
they have some too.
We have stuff for the weekend. So they're pretty excited about their thing. Now, the big one this weekend is Will Smith's new movie, Bright. And that is they say, like a full-blown, like theatrical movie that Netflix bought. So they're saying that it's a big deal. It should
match up with what you would go pay money to see at a theater.
That's what they say. We'll see. David Goyer, I think it is. It's the same guy that made Suicide Squad with Will Smith.
Yeah, but it looks good.
So did Suicide Squad.
I feel like our bar is going to be very low because this, you're not paying
really
for it.
Pay for it. You
even
pay
though
for
you're
Netflix,
paying for it monthly, but who remembers that at that point? So
I do agree with you. I
feel like I'm going to the movies on Friday without going to the movies.
I'm going to movies at my house.
Yes.
Wow.
Movie theaters are like, oh no.
Don't say that. It's not the same. It's not the same.
No, I even got the movie theater popcorn. We're good.
Well, there's something else happening on Friday that has really caught my eye, and that is a documentary coming to Netflix. Oh, it's 8 episodes.
Uh-huh.
I thought it was just one 90-minute thing, but no, it's going to be 8 different episodes. It's called The Toys That Made Us. So it's 8 documentaries about toys.
Yeah.
Their origins, their history, where they came from. There's going to be one for Star Wars, Barbie, G.I. Joe, He-Man, and apparently a few others. Like, I don't know what the actual episode lineup is, but those are all the toys that were laid out in the trailer. But I will say, if you've never done this before, I read an article, I can't remember when it was, or I'd share it, but it was an article about where Barbie, He-Man, and Cabbage Patch Kids came from. And it basically told the narrative of those 3 toys, the demand for them, how much money they made. And it was a crazy story.
Yeah.
Crazy story about where this stuff came from.
I assume it'll be included in this documentary.
It would have to be, right? So it's 8 episodes, and I have intentions to watch all of it. Like, I love toys. I do love toys.
And it's all out on Friday, so you can just binge them if you want. It's called The Toys That Made Us, and that is a new documentary series.
The only problem is that if I watch this, I cannot. Everybody listening, hear me say this. I can't start buying toys again. I stopped. I stopped for a reason.
Sure.
I can't start up again.
Well, these are classic toys. Will that trigger you the same way to go buy a new toy?
Can we stop saying trigger?
I know, but that's just how it is. Will
Maybe.
it set you off to those?
Will it cause an explosive reaction in a direction?
The word is correct in its term. I mean.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know what? Maybe. Like, I'll probably just be like, I want to get that!
I'm sure this will cover, and it's mostly those toys can have some value with it, whereas now, probably anything you buy at a toy store will have no future value that's worth too much more than what you bought it for.
I only ever bought toys because I thought they were cool.
Sure.
I never bought them because I thought they were going to be worth something.
Some people do, though.
I know.
They're
I know.
I want to find, this old classic character for like G.I. Joe. And
right.
I mean, it's going to be nothing.
Just right there in the trailer. And again, this is dumb, but it's a fascinating point, is they were talking about G.I. Joe, and they were like, this is a doll. But it's not a doll. It's an action figure.
Get
because
it right.
They had to figure out how to sell dolls to boys. And that's where the word action figure came from. Right there. Mind-blowing, right? I can't wait to watch it. And you're like, that's not mind-blowing. Well, it blew my mind. I have a small one, so maybe it doesn't take as much.
Let him enjoy it.
The Riot spent their entire advertising and promotion budget on catering and craft services.
The junk that guy eats has finally caught up with me.
So please tell your friends. It's The Riot on Radio U.
Nikki, what do you think is the most annoying word of the year?
Of the year?
Mm-hmm. Now, you can't pick the Riot, ugly sweater, or Christmas party, or 9 p.m. tonight.
Well, just because I said it a couple times and people didn't like how overused it became, but triggered.
Triggered?
Maybe.
Right.
We heard it a lot.
Well, here's the Marist College poll. They released this every year, in which they discuss the words that are the most annoying words of the year.
Just the ones that you see so much.
So their top 5 choices.
Yeah.
Number 1, whatever.
Okay.
So just whatever.
But I don't feel like that's anything new this year.
No, not all of these are new. But just because they're annoying doesn't mean they're new. So whatever. Fake news.
Mm-hmm.
That's one I hear. That's a lot. But you know what's really weird is I feel like fake news is a word that gets thrown around a lot, but oh my gosh, it's everywhere.
That's true.
Oh my gosh.
Thrown around seriously.
Okay, no offense, but.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a phrase. So it's no offense, comma, but. So like, look, no offense, but I don't want to watch your stupid Facebook show tonight at 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific, okay?
Fake news.
Fake news. Whatever. Then number 4 is literally.
Mm-hmm.
And then number 5 is you know what I mean.
Sure.
I don't know what
but
world.
none of these, I feel like, I thought it'd be better list if it was ones from this past year. And the only one I feel like was the fake news one.
See, for me, I feel like those first 4, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I may not hear them a lot or whatever, but I get it.
Ding.
The last one, though, you know what I mean? Oh, I never hear that. I don't hear that floating around. Do you?
Sometimes you just don't recognize that you're hearing it. It just goes right on in.
So am I saying that?
No, you're not. But in some cases, I don't think so.
Okay. I mean, I've been in rooms where I feel like each other were saying that to each other. Like, look, you know what I mean. You know what I mean.
No, but I don't think it's too bad.
Well, that made number 5. So
I just feel like they just picked some of the common fillers that our society has when it comes to conversation. These are just the words that you put in as you're talking about
crutch
things.
Phrases?
Yeah, crutch phrases.
So what you're saying is we need to sit down and have an air check with everybody about conversation.
As a society, yes, we do.
If you don't know what an air check is, that's when you take a DJ into a room, play back their talk to them, and hear them say the same word over and over again.
We all have a couple of words that it's in our vocabulary that you fill your space with, or the quiet times of a conversation.
The likes.
And those a lot of those work in there.
Oh, but they do, Nikki. Oh, but they do. So there you go. There's the annoying ones. Wait, let's see. Chad says, instead of you know what I mean, I like to say, I mean what you know.
Nice.
It throws people off.
Good job,
you know
Chad.
Chad, I'll bet people love that.
They're like, hey, this is Chad. This is thing that he does.
I'll bet you that everybody gets really excited when you do that. Whatever, Chad. Fake news, bro.
We thought about selling the worst of the riot. But let's be honest, no one is buying this stuff. Get it for free on the Radio U app.
How about the top 10? This is good. The top 10 health-related questions that were asked of Google this year.
Is that a bit private?
I think you'll like some of these. I'm going to give you the first one right up front. Number one is, what causes hiccups?
Really? That
is the most researched health question on Google.
I guess I thought it would be something a bit more dire.
Yeah, I know, right? 2 was how to stop snoring. Sorry. 3 is what causes kidney stones. Oh, wait, no.
Are we now getting really real?
When you get to 4, this is where, you're feeling this right now. Here it goes. Number 4, most researched health question on Google this year. Why am I so tired?
Oh, that should have been number 1. I'm so surprised it's not. Easy there, bud. Easy there.
You know what? My number 1 research question on Google, how to stop coughing.
And where does that fall on the list?
How long will this cough last? So then also on the list, the rest of it's like high blood pressure, cholesterol. When you get that desperate, you're like, am I dying? It's like, what is this? Will this cough ever stop?
I don't know if back in, a couple years ago, they're like, well, you shouldn't really Google your health-related things. And because now you couldn't pay us to go to the doctor. Like, you just don't want to go to the doctor because it's such a hassle. And you wish it was easier.
I'm embarrassed to tell my doctor, like, hey, so I did some reading on this, and I think that blah, blah, blah.
Then they won't even listen to you.
Then they're just like, here, take this medicine, salt pills. It'll
do you
help
think you can do this job? Then they get mad at you.
Yeah, it's weird.
But you hope that you could find an easy remedy so you don't have to go back.
Hey, I'll tell you, I've tried some home remedies this year before I've gone to the doctor. The key phrase is before I've gone to the doctor because I always end up going to the doctor.
Well, you've had usually more intensive things to where you really needed to see somebody.
It's been fine, though. Don't you worry about me.
Home remedy stuff is more preventative, but you got to get way into it early.
Well, you know what's funny is back when I drank a ton of soda, like, for example, I tried the apple cider vinegar, hugely helpful. I stopped drinking soda, and apple cider vinegar, like, tears my body apart. Like, I can't. When I drank it, I was like, oh, my gosh, I feel so sick. And that only lasted for like 3 days.
Do you know that soda was the glue that kept your body together?
My whole body. Like, taking it away. You don't even. What's really funny is, like, you don't even know. Like, you don't even know.
Put some of it back if your body needs it.
No.
We can't go much longer with all this.
Overall, I feel so much better. I do.
You sure?
I do.
All the time?
I promise.
Really?
Well, again, you got to take it in terms of, you don't live inside my body.
True.
And so
I feel like we do.
Oh, we'll stop now. Let's just go ahead and wrap it up. I often wonder, if you want to know the truth, why on this earth I do this job, because I feel like I'm too honest. And I have a lot of things to be honest about.
People, I think, like to be on the journey with you because everybody's walking their own health things.
It's fine.
So they like to hear yours.
You know what I cough a lot. And I don't drink soda. So you think if I brought the soda back, it would be the magic elixir to fix the cough?
You've coughed. The cough, I feel like, has started around that set, even though I know it's not. But
do you know you're one Diet Coke away from being cough-free?
Just do it.
Just drink it. Drink this
but you just
Coke and just be done with that.
You just have a soda? Just Google that and see. If I have a soda, will that help me stop coughing?
Will teriyaki chicken wings cure my cough?
The Riot is the radio equivalent of Taco Bell meat. Radio U.
Now, you may be thinking that once you get into New Year, you're just like, man, 2018's got nothing.
There's nothing to look forward to.
All of that Christmas, all of that New Year, and there's nothing that's even worth doing anything. I've got an item for you to put on the calendar. It's a little ways out, but you can write it down, and you're going to find something there. Saturday, May 5th, 2018.
Will be?
Free Comic Book Day.
Oh. Yay! Well, that'll get us over.
Well,
No, that's very exciting.
Well, I see that it's not good enough for Nikki.
Maybe it's just not big enough to keep us, thinking bright thoughts and happy stuff during the switch over to the new year.
Not all of us are going on vacation in April, okay?
Oh, yeah, hopefully I'm going on vacation in April.
We don't all have that to look forward to. So we've had to pick something else on the calendar.
And it's Free Comic Book Day?
I'm looking forward to Free Comic Book Day, Nikki. They say 50 free comics that day.
Okay, so I've never done Free Comic Book Day. Is there still comic books shops? Do you go in? Can you just pick anything off the shelves?
Oh, man, Doug just pulled your beak from out of his heart.
Why?
Because he owns a comic book store.
Oh, he does?
Yeah, listens to the show.
So then do you just pick or do they have a selection?
You know what we need to do?
Is that where we're going to go to a comic book store?
I need to, in January, we need to do Nikki's first trip to a comic book store, and that needs to be a Riot Skips Work, and we need to take you to a comic book store.
No, actually, but more entertaining is if I got to work at a comic book store for a day. It would be so much fun.
I would watch that show.
Would you?
I'll tell you what Nikki would do. She'd completely reorganize the entire store.
I am very good when it comes to organization.
She would just be like, this whole place is a mess.
Sometimes you just need a new person come in with like a different perspective. So that could be me.
Well, no, you go into comic book shops on that day and you go ahead and pick up. There are 50 free comics that they say will be available that day. So Infinity Watch and the Amazing Spider-Man, Ultra Street Fighter 2 #1.
Can I just download it?
Riverdale.
From a option, or do I have to go
Power Rangers
into the
special? Well, I mean,
to the store?
I'm sure that there will be some free digital comics, but you're not going to be able to get, physical comic book. And I already hear you, Nick. You're like, well, I don't want a physical one. I'll just make a mess.
I don't need to hurt the trees like that.
Okay. If you say so.
So that's in May?
Transformers Unicron Zero. Yeah, it's coming up on May 5th. So, in about 5 months.
Practically here.
I mean, and the great thing is, once we get through Free Comic Book Day, we're almost to Christmas.
Yes. I mean, this is our markers for next year.
So we'll just put that on the calendar. We should be great. I'm feeling really good about it.
And I really did feel like I had nothing to look forward to, but now we do.
Not anymore.
The worst of the riot is over, but the fun can keep going.
Hey, I saw you checking out my goods.
Check the Riot blog or stalk us on social media.
You want to sample them? A little try before you buy, huh?
Through riot.radiou.com.
I'm out of my makeup. Can you help me? Or